There's a 50-year-old scheme going around dressed up in new clothes, and it's coming for sports bettors. What is it? How does it work? Why are people falling for it? And how does it make money? I'm going to expose the truth behind why this is a lousy deal for bettors and give you an obvious alternative to what they're selling. Hi, I'm Jack from Unabated, where we provide software tools and education to help people find and place sharper bets. I've been a professional gambler for over 20 years, and I've seen more than my fair share of scams and cons preying on people who are trying to get the edge in gambling. I'll let you decide if this one is a scam or not. The setup is called a prop firm, and they lure people in by offering to stake bettors who think they're good at sports but just don't have a bankroll. All you have to do is pass their challenge or series of challenges, and they'll let you keep a percentage of whatever profit you generate. This sort of come-on has existed in financial markets for decades. They get budding traders to pay a fee to trade stocks in their simulated environment for fake money. If the prospective trader can exceed a certain return on investment, they advance to the next stage of the challenge. There's always a promise of profit sharing or being upgraded to one of their real money traders. But the truth is, unlike actual financial firms that employ traders, these prop firms often aren't putting collective capital to work. They make their money from the upfront fee they charge hopefuls before they start trading. Aspiring traders who get lucky and pass the challenge, well, they get paid from those fees as well. And now we're seeing sports betting prop firms work the same way. And these firms add extra wrinkles to make it even harder for you to beat their challenges. Once you deposit your test fee or challenge fee, you'll get access to a virtual bankroll and placed into software that resembles a sportsbook. In fact, these actually use real-time odds that mimic a real sportsbook. Your challenge is to hit a profit target that they specify, typically 20, 30, or 40% of profit. They vary. But they also put handcuffs on your ability to operate. You have to make a minimum number of bets. You have a max bet size and a maximum win amount per bet to stop you from making one big bet or only playing long shots. They also require you to hit your goal in a limited time frame. You can't wait around for the best opportunities. And many often have a maximum drawdown. Your bankroll can't decrease by more than 15% from any high point. Some even have a maximum daily loss. You can't dig yourself out from a losing streak, and one bad day, and you're out. Once you're gone, they get to keep your test fee. But they'll invite you back to take another shot if you pay the challenge fee again. The truth is, all these terms and conditions make it nearly impossible to win. They set you up for failure by only allowing you to focus on the short run. Anyone who doesn't realize that losing happens in sports betting probably isn't ready to bet on sports. If you have an edge in sports betting, it manifests over time. Proving it over a short period and with heavy restrictions actually proves nothing. In a minute, I'll show you some simulations to prove it. Even if you are lucky enough to pass the challenge, that's typically just the first phase. And you have to do it all again in another short time window, with all the same restrictions on bet sizing, win amounts, and avoiding bankroll drawdowns. In fact, often the restrictions are even harsher and require a higher profit threshold. On top of all of this, the fine print says that they can cancel your account at any time. Oh, and these sites aren't regulated as gambling operators. If you get treated unfairly, you really have no recourse. But even if you do take on their gauntlet, and even if we assume they're operating in good faith, let's look at what the math says you're up against. And if after I explain it, you think this is a scam or still a legitimate way to make money at sports betting, drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm interested to hear your take. So I turned to ChatGPT and I asked it to build a few simulations as how someone would perform in one of these challenges. Let's start with this challenge, which requires me to hit a $1,750 profit on a $5,000 bankroll. I have to bet at least $5,000 in aggregate bets. I can't bet more than $750 per bet. My max win is $1,000 per bet, and I can't bet anything shorter than minus 500. Now, as restrictions go, these are actually not the worst I've seen. I ran 100,000 simulations of someone betting at a flat $200 bet size over 25 bets in 2 weeks against -110 lines without an edge. In other words, their probability of winning each bet was 50-50, but the line required a 52.4% win rate or higher to have an edge. 2.16% of the 100,000 simulations exceeded an ending bankroll of $6,750. Even if you were one of the lucky 2%, the next challenge said you'd need to win $2,000 in your next $5,000 bankroll challenge in order to win 10% of the profits. Of 100,000 simulations under these conditions, only 0.72% met the criteria. The median profit from those was $2,255, of which the player would get 10%, or $225. Put those together and you have a 0.016% chance of making any money, about 1 in 6,250. And your likely win is only $225. Oh, but you paid $229 to enter the challenge. So you're only going to break even about 1 in every 6,250 times. But Jack, I'm not a coin flipper. I have an edge. Okay, let's assume you have a 5% edge on each of your bets. That's actually pretty generous as edges go. Finding bets with an edge of 5% takes a lot of skill and a lot of work. We'll assume with each bet, you're going to bet 2% of your virtual bankroll and you'll make 70 bets over the 14-day span. Now, your probability of profiting more than $1,750 in the first round is 7.4%. The probability you'd win the second phase of the challenge is 4.48%. That means a wildly skilled bettor would only have a 0.33% chance of passing both and taking a profit. And the median profit with a 5% edge is only $2,328. So even if you're a sharp bettor, you're only just slightly better off than an absolute coin flipper to essentially break even on the challenge. And remember, this challenge has a fairly liberal set of rules. The simulations that I ran on sites with a 15% drawdown rule are ridiculous, even using the sharp bettor parameters. Look at this. Factoring in that drawdown rule, nearly 30% of simulations get crushed due to that. I think that's absurd. If you think it is too, then do everyone a favor and share this video. Get the word out before all the affiliate-led content about how they made money on these sites begins to spread. But what about their claim that this is a simulated betting environment to help you learn how to bet responsibly? I've heard these sites use the analogy that just as a pilot would learn to fly in a flight simulator, these sites are just teaching you to bet in a betting simulator. Even that argument falls apart. These simulated environments don't reflect real-world betting conditions. I'm fond of saying that the single sharpest thing you can do to win at sports betting is to line shop. Where's the line shopping here? You have one sports book to bet against that they control. And if they're trying to train you as a bettor, well, the first thing they let you know is that 20, 30, 40% ROI is really tough in betting and gets tougher the more bets you make. That's why they require you to make a certain number of bets and restrict the odds that you can bet into. Remember, these sites aren't laying off your bets into some real money market somewhere. They're the sports book. Do you really think they want to educate you? If you really want to learn and you're already likely to lose your test fee, why wouldn't you just take the same $230 and make small $5 and $10 bets with it and see how it goes? And if you're not ready to risk real money, you don't have to spend a challenge fee to do it. It's very simple to paper trade before you bet real money in a sportsbook. Pull up any sportsbook app and record your prospective bets and results in a spreadsheet. Done. No hard-to-reach profit targets or restrictions on how you can bet. Plus, you get to line shop, which you can't do on these sites. Use an odds screen, like the one we have for free at Unabated. And if you need some education to become a sharper bettor, well, I've spent years now building a library of informative videos to help you along your journey. So how do you start to build a bankroll? There are some definite proven techniques to help you do it. Here's a video I made about doing just that. Check it out.